Hey everybody, Zoomzyke here, and welcome back to another episode of Mario Maker. That was my introduction back when I did Let's Playing. We are back with some more Mario Maker, but I'm showing you another level. Now, I have done this before. I did this, I believe, some months ago, maybe a year ago, maybe 10 years ago, maybe I was a fetus, I don't freaking know. And I had showed off a level called Mirror Manor, where you play through the level once, and then you play through it again, but it was a more difficult version. Now, the concept of it was kind of cool. It was all like, wow, you know, like, I get to play through this thing another time, but now it's harder. But everyone hated it. Not everyone, but there were tight quarters everywhere. It wasn't really that fair. There were like checkpoints in very odd locations. There was a checkpoint that I could have added before a really tough section, but I didn't. So I have taken that feedback and made a tight corridor place again, like an idiot. But this time it's better, I swear. So the concept this time, actually, you know what? I'm not gonna tell you the concept this time around. If you have Mario Maker 2, go play this level first, alright? Play it first, form your own opinion, and then anything that you're confused about or anything that you're like, oh man, I wonder why he did this, you'll probably see explain here. And of course, if you have any feedback, if you liked the level or if you freaking hated it and you want to hurt my feelings, go ahead and let me know. My feelings were already hurt since the first one and I learned from it. Just keep doing it. It's all good. Alright. So, this one, I don't even have a name for. I haven't even uploaded it yet. And the reason for that is because there are some people that have me added on the Switch, right? Some people that watch my videos, and if they saw me upload a Mario Maker 2 level, then they'd probably be like, oh, that's the next video, dude, I know. So I'm like, crap, man, I can't do that. I'm gonna have to, like, make the video without uploading it first. So that's why we're currently in the version of it that is, I guess, the maker. We're not actually playing the level right now. I'm just, you know, we're making it. And I'm going to go through this thing, and I'm just going to kind of say what I was thinking when I made each part of the level, and that's it. Now, if you ever see Mario crank his neck upwards, like that, like this, then that's because my Joy-Cons are currently drifting. That is a major issue. I can't send them in right now because Nintendo's like, hey, we don't have our place open for fixing Joy-Con drift, or you can't send in your Joy-Cons. I've been wanting to play at least a little bit of Animal Crossing. I've played a bit of it already, but my Joy-Cons just got worse and worse. I don't know what happened. I don't know if they released some kind of update that screwed me over, but whatever. It's actually really annoying, and I'm sad. So, I'm not going to really say what the gimmick of this is. I'm just going to kind of let you guys figure it out. So, we're going to go through the opening right here. Bam. Just like that. Now, I can understand if someone didn't really get what the gimmick is just from that, so just in case, I'm gonna go through these pipes once more. And if it wasn't already obvious, you'll notice that part of the level has flipped, or the whole level is flipped. It's a flippy level, where you go through the level one way, and I guess I just really like that concept, where you go through the level one way, and then something changes about the level, right? And then the level that you just went through is altered in such a way that it's like, whoa, it's like this brand new thing and stuff, right? So this part of the level here, for example, which you couldn't get at all, like these kinds of coins here, are now accessible because you flipped it in a certain way, right? Or, I mean, this is a new location as well. You'll kind of, you kind of get what I mean. Because, like, it's not like you were able to get here when you were at the orientation you were currently, you were at beforehand. I'm going to be using the word orientation a lot, by the way. So you can't get these coins down here. I know it's kind of hard to see it because of, like, the make thing there, but whatever. So we're going to travel our way across the saw blades here, and I want to show you some other neat parts about it. I want to make sure I outrun that timer on the top right, because that thing can be a little bit annoying when I'm trying to show stuff off. So, like, for example, these coins right here, you weren't able to get them when you were walking, like, on the other side of the wall. I guess I just find that to be really cool. I feel like I'm more of a concept guy when it comes to making levels or appreciating levels, or, like, the aesthetics, I guess, because there are some games where I'm just like, and the game design can be good, but, like, if it looks like something I've really seen before, then it's hard for me to appreciate it as much as I could, you know what I mean? Like, with games like, Super Mario 3D World, or, like, Sonic Lost World, and stuff like that, those are kinds of games where the design or level design could be really freaking cool, Like, I'm sure Super Mario 3D World has some, like, design aspects that, like, some people find really, really enjoyable. But because it is something I have seen before with my own eyes, like the aesthetics, it is very, very difficult for me to get into, like, the rhythm of enjoying it as much as I could, if that makes sense. Because I've seen grasslands before in Mario games, I've seen desert, I've seen tropical, forest, you know, mountain, lava, sky, you know, I can name all the different kinds of tropes and they keep using them over and over. It doesn't matter how good the design is, because at the end of the day, I feel like there are more unique designs that you could use. It feels like the good game design, it feels like the good level design is wasted on a concept that's already been executed again and again. And I feel like I'm kind of the opposite with my level sometimes, where I don't have as good quality in actual platforming itself, but the concept I feel like is executed pretty dang cool. And sometimes I feel like I just rely on that a bit too much, you know? So here are again some coins that you weren't able to get otherwise, and these are the only 2 flips you have seen this time, but it's gonna get a little more flippier. And some of these clouds placements might look a little weird to you. It's like, why are they here, you know? But I feel like, you'll see. That's another part of the level, where it's like, when you go through the place in a different formation again, you're going to see, like, why they were placed in the way that they were. And some of the places are kind of restricted right now. You'll notice that there's a lot of on and off switches, and that's to prevent players from... Hold on, let me reset the timer here. And that's to prevent Hey, I had a freaking... I was big, dude. Yeah, the Joy-Con drift kind of sucks here. But this on and off switch, these on and off switch, I can't say the word, whatever. The switch shenanigans here are to prevent players from soft locking themselves, basically. Because I don't want people to go one way and, like, just fall through somewhere and then die randomly. There are, you know, despite going through the level in really cool, unique ways, there are certain ways or certain paths that I block off because, you know, there's only so much I can do, you know what I mean? Like, if this whole place was open here, you would just fall. But because I changed the orientation and I have these on and off switches, I'm able to kind of create another path for you, if that makes sense. So that's why I made it so you're not able to proceed unless you hit this block, you know what I mean? So, if you try going back, then this is what's gonna happen. You'll be totally fine, right? But you can only proceed by hitting the switch. And I obviously have that, I shouldn't say obviously, because, you know, it's obvious to me, but I have that little sound effect or visual indicator of that little ripple. It's like, bwang, you know, to kind of let you know that something's changed, you know, something's changed about the level. Now, here's an example of those little clouds over there. You can see that they're smiles. This is at, like, the top of your screen. You can see that the smiles are now on, like, the bottom of them, right? So, like, the orientation of everything isn't going to be exactly perfect. So, like, this thwomp, for example. Like, that thwomp went to the left at first, but now its face is, like, facing a weird direction. I was trying to make it so everything was, like, perfectly orientated and that there wasn't any confusion, but there's only so much I can do, right? You see those flames on the right? I forgot what their exact name is or whatever. I think they're burners. But they are perfect in every orientation. You can kind of see what they're doing. And you can see this, like, little enemy here. Like, he's perfect for this kind of level design. But the thwomps, not so much, because their faces change with every orientation. So it's kind of whatever. And look, guys, a checkpoint. I didn't have these in my previous level. It's whatever. So I kind of have more open room here. And you'll notice that the warp pipes are color-coded. And the color coding for each of the warp pipe kind of goes like this. The red one is what orientation you are currently on, and the green one is a different orientation than what you're on. So if you go into a red pipe, then that means that you are going to change the orientation of the level. That's kind of the idea. The blue pipe is a secret exit, basically. There are 3 secret exits in this level, and you get a reward depending on how secret each one was, which I felt was... You know, I give you a certain amount of 1-up. So for example, yeah, you see that? Like, you go into the red pipe, then everything changes. See that? So you have the harder ones, which are like the red, like, what the heck do you call those? The cannons, right? You have the red cannons that are kind of shooting it, and they're not really much of a threat when you're just going along this thing to the left, right? They're not a threat at all, actually. You can't even get down there. But now that you go into this pipe, and the whole level flips on its side. But you'll notice that the smaller cannonballs, or not really the smaller cannonballs, but the black cannonballs, which shoot slower, also kind of, and this wasn't really intended, but they get kind of caught up in, oh, I was trying to like chain it there, but they kind of get caught up in the whole deal. You'll see, okay, because I'm kind of all over the place, but see how we went to a lower elevation, but all the black cannonballs, which were also at a lower elevation, followed us there. That wasn't really a design choice, that was kind of a side effect of the way that the level was designed, and it can feel kind of cheesy if you end up getting hit by that, which I'm not really proud of, to be frank. So we're gonna go back a little bit to another part of the level that you could have decided to explore if you wanted to. So if you platformed up here atop the conveyor belts and you hit this block right here, you could have gotten a star, and you could have gone in between the holes there, or you could have just gone back to where you were originally, and this makes, or the star makes this section way easier. You don't have to worry about any of the cannonballs, you can just get rid of all of them. Now this is what I would call the main part of I was about to say chorus, but the main part of the level where you can express the most creativity, because there are multiple endings here, and what I mean by endings are multiple secret exits. I guess that's the way that they put it in Mario. Now I'm only going to do the main route here, so we will go to the other ones eventually. Now these blocks here were to prevent you from actually, okay, I'm sorry, not these blocks, this was always here, but you see those clouds there? Now those clouds were completely useless when but when the course was flipped on its side. You couldn't do anything with them, but now that it's flipped this way, they're meant as kind of a fail-safe. They're to prevent you from soft-locking. I don't want people to soft-lock in this level, and that's what those things, you'll see those blue blocks. It's really hard to describe this, because in order for me to fully communicate to you what I tried to do in this level, I would have to go to the exact orientation that I made part of it in, if that makes sense. But anyways, I'll try my hardest. You see those blue blocks up there? That's to prevent you from falling into this place, and then, whatever, I'll just show you when I do the level again. It's just too difficult. So we can move on to this section here, and this is to prevent you from, you know, screwing yourself over again. Because if you decide to go backwards when these blocks are the other color, then you can get screwed over. That's basically all it is. Like, whenever you see a warp pipe and there's some kind of, how do I put this? Whenever you see a warp pipe with the red or blue blocks on top of it, I do that to save you. I do that to help you, and in order to make sure that you don't end up getting stuck. Now those coins, you know, represent something, but we don't know what that is right now. And I decided to be a little bit more forgiving with the power-ups this time. Now, the fire flower here doesn't really do much. Like, there aren't really any enemies in these levels, and I kind of apologize for that. I'm not really an enemy guy. I don't really like putting enemies down because I feel like it's harder for me to deliver the exact experience that I want in a level when I put something like AI in the level, because it can function in very strange ways. Now when I have something like these cannonballs, they function very straightforwardly. They just shoot a cannonball one direction at a certain kind of speed. Now with the regular enemies like a Koopa Troopa or a Goomba or, oh, prevent it, a boss, right? Like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna have a boss in any of my levels, because they might perform in a way that I don't want them to, and I want to deliver a very exact experience with the concept that I envisioned, if that, you know, all makes sense to you. But this part isn't really that difficult, even if you're like kind of standing on top of it, right? You'll just jump over the cannonballs. Like, you might get hit by them if you're like rushing it, but it's not really that big of a deal. You'll see that arrow over there, which is kind of meant to point you like, hey, this is where you have to go, but you can't really get there yet. And you see these coins kind of draw your attention to the right as well. And then there's coins up there, so it's like, oh boy, you know? And then there's these cannonballs that don't really do anything to you at all. And this is like tantalizingly close. It's like, oh my gosh, just let me up there. But no, you cannot. You go into the warp pipe, and this is your final little switch, I believe. No, this is the final little flip that you do. And this one, actually I might have to change that, because you can't really see the angle of the cannonballs when you first come out. Here, check it out. The camera doesn't really assist you in that regard. When you come out of the warp pipe here, you can't see the cannonball, so you're gonna run up here, and then all of a sudden... Oh wait, the cannonballs don't even fire because they're not on screen, but the moment you jump, now they're gonna fire because they're on screen. Wait, no. Now they're gonna fire because all of them are on screen. that's a bit of an issue. I guess I'm gonna have to fix that before I end up releasing this. So we're just gonna go through this like normal. The whole point of this elevation part was to make it so, oh man, like it's a little slow getting up there, so you have to make sure that you keep an eye on your speed, you know? So I'm gonna decide to, oh, I don't think this is functioning the exact way I wanted it to either. The platforms are supposed to function in the exact same way that they did in the other orientation. I will actually go back and show you what I mean by that. So, the platforms in this orientation are meant to... Whoopsie daisy. My bad. Sorry for getting annoyed by the audio-visual sound effect. Oh my gosh, why am I so bad? I'm not Joy-Con drifting down, I'm Joy-Con drifting up, so why do I keep accidentally doing that? I'm gonna jump this time to make sure I don't make the same mistake. So, we're gonna go down here. Now, these platforms are meant to bring you up, right? And I decided to make sure that there was a little space here for when you platformed across here, right? So you can fall down. Because if I had these platforms right here, then you would get soft locked. You would get yourself stuck. Here, just to make sure that I kind of made my point with that. That'd be like if I did this. Like if I were to like put all this here, you know what I mean? And then I said, okay, good luck. You would go here and then you would get stuck. You wouldn't be able to get out, you know what I mean? So that's why there's kind of a hole there. Oh, whoopsie. Oh, my bad. Okay. Sometimes the undo button does that, where it kind of just brings you into another area, and I'm like, wait, I didn't mean to do that. Whatever. So you can bring yourself down here, and there's some more cannonballs, which are a little bit of a pain, especially when you're going through this section, but if you just kind of, you know, run through it, don't really care, then they're not that bad. They're not that bad. And this is kind of like a congratulations, you beat the level sort of deal. But I kind of do something a little mean in this upcoming section here. So we flip one final time, you get the coin to the arrow, and it's like there's literally no other way you can go besides, I guess, backwards, but there's no real point in doing that. You go through the door, and then you fall! Oh god! But, you know, nothing bad happens. And then you can just complete the level. And you have my good old Z-Cross there. Now, that is a way to play this level, and I feel like the concept is pretty neato, but I feel like if you were to play the level just once without kind of experimenting with the stuff that I laid out, then you wouldn't be getting the full satisfaction from everything I did in the level, if that makes sense. So we're gonna kind of rewind ourselves to a part of the level, and I know, I can't wait to show you how it's actually designed in order for me to make it, like, actually function this way, but, because it's kind of wacky. So we're gonna play through the level like normal here. Okay, because, like, I had to basically make this level multiple times. Like some of the sections of this level, I had to make like 3 different angles of it, if that makes sense. Like some parts of it, like this section right here, I didn't have to make another version of it. It was just kind of like, oh hey, you know, that exists. But this part here, for example, has like 3 or I think like this part here has like 3 different orientations you view it from. You know what I mean? And like that got to be a hassle because I had to count them in so many different ways and it was very annoying, but it was so worth it because when I look at it and I see them at all the different kinds of angles, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is such a cool idea. Like someone could totally steal this idea and make their own level, which is probably going to be better than this one because I don't think this one's the highest quality it could be, but I think the concept of it is really freaking cool. But yeah, we're gonna make our way to one of the first areas that you're able to go to. We're gonna start with the ones that you can kind of get in order, I guess, like secret-wise. Like the one that you first see. I'm gonna get the star here so I don't end up dying though. We're gonna go right through the hole here so we can persist with the star a little bit longer and hit every single cannonball that comes our way. Okay, that's not really big of a deal. Now, the main thing that you want to do here if you want to get one of the secret exits is this little guy down here. Now you approach him and he'll automatically fall and then start hitting this button over and over again. Now the switches are going to go off and on, and this can be kind of strange at first, but if you follow along and you go past this wall here, you can actually go along the ground with these coins. Now these coins were on the ceiling at first, mind you, but now it's the ground. And that blue pipe from earlier, you are now able to enter. And I consider this to be the second secret, right? And I kind of ranked them in terms of difficulty. Now that second one, like noticing that and knowing to do that with the shell was like, oh, you know, that's kind of cool, you know, you got it, right? And then you go down here and bam, you get some of the coins from my little icon thing. You know, you can get all of them if you like kind of build up the speed to do so. And then you can get the gold from here. And that's pretty cool, right? So I'm going to show you, I'm actually going to show you the, you know what? I'm going to do it out of order. I'm going to show you the one that's the easiest, I think. And that is the one at the very end here, where you go through, you don't have to really go through any hoops or anything. This is kind of just a, you know, if you see it, you see it kind of deal. Because, like, this can happen. Hold on, let me shake Mario real quick to kind of... Actually, I don't think I have to shake Mario. I think I can make him just lose the power-up like that. There we go. So this can happen by pure accident. You know, long story short, there's hidden blocks there. And if you kind of climb your way up, then you can just go into the blue warp pipe, and then ta-da, you did it, right? Now, most people, when doing the whole, like, hidden... I'm sorry, whoopsie daisy. Most people, when doing the hidden block thing, they have coins surrounding it to kind of point out that they're there. I felt that would be a little too obvious. What I wanted to do was, I kind of assumed that a player would hit this, follow the mushroom, get it, and then bam, hit the hidden block. You know what I mean? And even if that's a fire flower, right? Well, let's say that they already are like regular Mario, you know what I mean? And then they hit that, let's just pretend that's a fire flower that comes out, and they're like, oh, that's a fire flower. They get that, and then they're like, wait, that's a weird warp pipe, can I hit that, you know? And they might try to go for it, and then they start jumping around, and then they see the hidden blocks. So at that point, they would, you know, make some jumps, they would go inside of it, and then they would get the third secret, which only rewards one 1-up, which is kind of strange because it's 3, but you only get 1. The 2 you get, you know, second secret you get 2 1-ups, and then the first secret you get 3 1-ups. But I guess they're less ranked in the order that you come to them by, and more ranked in the difficulty in actually obtaining them. And you only get 1 coin from it, because it's like, you know, you did it, but it wasn't like super duper impressive. So, now I'm going to show off the number 1 secret in this level, which I feel can be a little difficult. You kind of have to go through a couple more hoops. I might change it a little bit. So you have to come down here, and this time you're not going to go to the right, you're going to go to the left. Now, everything just kind of looks topsy-turvy, and it's a little more dangerous because you can kind of stay here for a moment and then kind of get stuck here and then die, you know? So it punishes you, and that's part of the reason why it's one of the number 1 secrets. It punishes you for kind of waiting there and not really doing anything, right? So I'm going to stand here again, kind of wait for them to go by, and then this time we're going to rush through, and it's still going. You'll notice that the shell is still changing the blocks to go off and on. I actually had to tinker around with that a lot. Like, this section of the level that you see right here was the hardest to, like, actually make function. These red blocks to the left of me and the blue blocks, because I had to figure out multiple orientations for them to work. 3 of them, actually. You'll remember that we came out of the warp pipe here at one point, and this was solid ground that we were able to stand on. You know what I mean? And right here too, like this was solid ground that we stood on, so I had to make sure that these were functional in both ways that the level was played, right? But I also had to make sure it was functional when you went along the wall. So, oh crap, I have to do this part again. Okay, there we go. I'll let this guy, and you have to kind of time your jump here. This can be kind of annoying. It might feel like you soft-locked here, but you didn't. Don't worry about it, don't worry about it. Oh god. Okay, there we go, we saved ourselves. Alright, so you kind of just go through here, and then you go into this blue warp pipe, and that's what I consider to be the first secret. It is worthy of a firework, and you're able to fall down and get all the little goodies. You can get my logo again and be like, screw you, Zoomzike, you made another tight corridor level, and then you can get the goal, right? But I do want to show off the little kinds of ways that this whole place went topsy-turvy. Now, actually, wait, am I even on the... Okay, I want to go to the first version. Alright, I'm going to zoom out. Now, things are going to look a little weird, but I want you to, again, keep in mind that just try to imagine the level, like, turning. You know what I mean? So I'm going to zoom out now. So, this is the first section of the level. Now, I couldn't, or I didn't remember, when you go into a warp pipe, that causes you to go into a sub-area, right? So, I couldn't, like, I couldn't turn it, and then, whoopsie, sorry there. but I couldn't turn the level and stay within the same area because I was using warp pipes. So for example, when I go into this warp pipe and the whole area turns, it has to be in this second area, or in the sub area. I feel like that's easier for me to explain to people who've actually played Mario Maker before, but I guess it's not really like a big deal. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna show you the whole first area. I'm gonna totally zoom out, and here we go. So that's the whole first area. This area is the part where you run. Now this bottom section here, you actually can't reach. You can't reach at all. The whole point of that is to show you that it exists. You know what I mean? To kind of like let you know, hey, you're going to be going there in a moment. So you'll notice that it's very interesting, I feel, because a lot of the level isn't actually playable. A lot of it is for looks, right? To kind of make you feel as though it like you're actually turning. Because imagine if all of this, for example, wasn't here. Imagine if I deleted all this. Then it wouldn't make any sense, you know what I mean? You wouldn't get the feeling that you're actually turning the level, right? And I feel like that's a whole part of like the actual excitement, the actual cool part of the level. Because, you know, if I were to show you the way that this whole thing works, I guess I'll zoom out for every single one. Because you go in here first. And then I will zoom out here. And then just follow along with Mario. You might go down here and grab some stuff, but no, your main route is here, right? You kind of, and just look how little of the level we're actually going through. You hit the block, you kind of go back around this way, you go back into the warp pipe, and you skipped this section, you do this section in a moment. So let's just pretend, you know, you do this section real quick, and you go into this warp pipe. Anyone who's listening to this video in the background is going to be so confused. I apologize, you. Yes, you. I know you're listening to this in the background. I'm sorry if this is confusing. But yeah, so you pop out right here. And again, this whole section of the level, you don't even do. It's just for looks. It's just to hit home that you're actually turning the place. And I know that I might be a little annoying that I'm repeating myself over and over again with like, hey, this is what you're doing. But really, like, I wanted to make sure that people kind of understood that. And I wanted to make sure that that was fully known. Like, this level isn't actually a very long one, but I use up quite literally the whole canvas in both areas. Like, you will play Mario Maker levels and you will play an extremely long level and be like, oh my gosh, that was so long. But I use the same amount of the canvas because of all this part, because of all the parts of the level that aren't actually played on. You know what I mean? It's kind of crazy. Okay, so I'm gonna put Mario down this warp pipe here. Alright, and again, I remade this part of the level, but upside down. Right? Now, some of it was kind of strange. Like, some of it wasn't, like, one-to-one because of camera angles. So, like, okay, for example, let me describe to you what I mean by that. Okay, so, like, look up here, for example. Now, you'll notice that the top, where I have Mario, it's like the top blocks here, there's only 3 of them. Right? You can kind of see, there's like 1... Sorry, my whole thing's being weird, but like 1, 2, 3, right? You can kind of see that. And you'll notice that when I come out of this warp pipe, and we look at that same spot, it's not 1, 2, 3, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's because Mario Maker is actually uneven a little bit, and that was very frustrating. So here, let me count the amount of blocks on each side. We got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, right? Now let's count the blocks for the bottom side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There are 14. Okay, so hold on. So you see this kind of like thicker line that's in the middle horizontally? Below it, there are 14 spaces. Above it, there are 13 spaces. So whenever I had to change the orientation upside down, I had to compensate. And it was a little frustrating because it's not perfect one-to-one. There is a location or two where it isn't one-to-one, but the places that I like compensated for, you don't really notice anyways. For example, the ground. So like if I start you right here, it's like, who cares if you can see that, you know? Who cares if you can see that extra block that you weren't able to see when you were like at the other orientation? No one really cares, you know what I mean? So yeah, whatever. So you go through this whole little section here, and again, this whole top left area, you don't even see at all. This is like this is the recreation of the first part of the level, but you don't see enough of it for it to matter. It's kind of like how in like 3D video games, you'll see like somewhere in the distance that you can go, okay, so you know how in Super Mario Sunshine, if you saw my Super Mario Sunshine video, like Al Delfino's culture, or it's called Super Setting Sunshine, whatever. But if you watch my Super Mario Sunshine video, you'll know that you're able to see different parts of Al Delfino from, you know, different parts, right? That was kind of a screw up. So like you can see Delfino Plaza from Rico Harbor. You can see Corona Mountain from Peanut Park. You know what I mean? But the polygons, like the actual way that they look, you know, it's not perfect, but the developers know that it's so far away, it doesn't even matter. It's kind of similar in this regard, where I didn't have to make this exactly perfect, because you can't even see this far anyways. But in your head, you kind of think to yourself, oh, that's the same spot, you know what I mean? Even if it isn't. Like, take a look at this part here, right? Actually, hold on a sec. Okay, yeah, alright, I just want to make sure I was in the right area. Okay. So yeah, you'll see right here that it's the same exact area, but just a little bit smaller. I don't want to stay on that too far, and I feel like I've just kind of been repeating myself, kind of like patting my back on the same concept over and over again, but who knows? Maybe there are people out there that will find kind of the idea as cool as I have, and maybe there won't, you know? It doesn't, you know, at the end of the day, I'm pretty happy with like the way this whole thing turned out. But I do want to show you the different kinds of ways that, actually I still haven't shown you the whole thing. I haven't shown you the whole canvas, right? Okay, this is kind of strange here. So we've got this door. Okay, this is where the goal would be, right? You see where Mario is? This is where the goal would be if I can make an upside down replication, but there literally is not enough room for me to make anything like that. And it's not like I would have to anyways, because you can't even see that far from this angle. Like here. Like if I were to play the level from here, for example, I'm gonna die, hold on a sec. Alright, there we go, right here, right? So if I were to play the level from this angle, you can't even see that far. Look, you get like, oh my gosh, come on. Look, you can't even see that far to the left. It's like, it's totally inconsequential. I didn't even have to make this section here. I could have just made all this brick and it didn't matter, right? It's not like you're gonna see that far anyways, but if I were to like kind of, again, if I were to put Mario in here, then flip everything back the other orientation, then yeah, of course you're going to need to see that far, because look, this is where the actual end of the level is. It's all about kind of, it's all about, I feel like, me trying to be clever with the way that things were designed in order to make sure that, you know, like making things one-to-one with each other, making sure that things were in proper orientations, to kind of make this level that flips correctly, you know, to kind of make this kind of wacky level, I needed to make sure that everything was perfect in its orientation, you know what I mean? And I would love to see what this level would look like as like a big map, you know what I mean? Because like, for example, let me show you what I mean. Okay, that would be really hard to do, because as an example, so this part of the level here, right? So this level that stretches all the way to the left, right? From this part of the level's perspective, right? This part of the level's perspective, this section here, which stretches all the way to the left, is actually stretching all the way to the right. You know what I mean? And let me switch sub areas here. This section of the level here, right, which stretches all the way to the right. So like this area here, which stretches to the right, would actually stretch downwards, you know, from this part of the level's perspective. So what I'm trying to say is I would love to see what the whole level would look like as one enormous square or one enormous rectangle. You know what I mean? Like, I know that the part of the level at the very end would be a little bit different in that regard. It's kind of more isolated. Not as much thought went into it as the others. I was kind of thinking of a massive cube that had like 4 different sections. But look, I literally ran out of room here. I couldn't do any more. I'm like, okay, whatever. There's not enough room. But you know what I mean? Like, I really wish I could see like what the whole thing would look like if I actually zoomed out, but that's the whole deal. You know what I mean? There aren't as many enemies as there were before, and by enemies I mean there aren't as many obstacles. This is more so a unique concept that I kind of in my head, and I'm like, I'll just splurge all my effort onto it. I'm like, dude, let's do it. You know, I want to go through the whole thing and just make sure that is like of like a decent kind of amount of quality. Like I could have spent like more hours on this to make sure that there weren't as many tight corridors, but it was almost necessary for this kind of level in order for me to have all the room that I needed for the kinds of ideas I wanted to express. So I apologize that I wasn't super thorough with it as I was in the last one, because Mirror Manor technically had more content to it, more game design ideas expressed in it, right? Whereas this one was more of a conceptual idea, if that makes sense. So they're kind of two different approaches. If you played the level, let me know what you think. I'm very interested on any feedback. If you haven't played Mirror Manor already, go to that video. It's called Analyzing My Own Game Design. Not the best title, I know. But go back to that one and play that one first, right? Watch the video for that, then play... Actually, wait a minute. Okay, you should have already played this level. I don't know why I'm saying this at the end of this video, because my idea was that you would play Mirror Manor first, watch the video I made for it, play this level first, then watch this video, but whatever. If you've already played this level and you watch this video like I asked at the very beginning, I thank you, right? But if you haven't played the first level that I made, please go play that, right? Not that many people liked it. I think it was kind of a split where people are like, you know, it was fun, it was a cool concept, but like, man, was it frustrating. I feel like that was the general consensus. So, you know, I'm curious what your thoughts are. I respond to comments. Again, I'm generally good about that. I'm generally good, and I'm gonna upload this now. I'm gonna do it. So, this Joy-Con drift is terrible, by the way. Hold on a second. I'm gonna dedicate this last minute of the video to just showing you how bad this Joy-Con drift is. So I'm gonna look at the cursor, right? I'm gonna let go of this cursor, right? Oh, now it doesn't do anything. Okay, look, now it's doing stuff. I'm not holding it, I swear, right? So I'm gonna let go. Okay, it moved it. Okay, here we go. There it goes. There it goes. Here, I'm gonna let go once more. There it goes. It's actually horrible. Like, it's not a little bit where it's like drifting kind of like this speed. You see that, right? This is me. Kind of like drifting a tiny bit. It's like, whoa, going really high. Or not really high, but going really fast. But yeah, play it. Let me know what you think. Both levels. Let me know what you think of both levels. Tell me if you think this one's better than the other one. I think it is. It might still be garbage. I don't freaking know. But we'll see. We'll see what the general consensus is. I will see you the next time I do make a Mario Maker level. Or whatever. That'll probably be months from now. I've got bigger and better things I want to do for the June Zoom. I will see you guys tomorrow.